should be starting. Mic test. Let me lower the sensitivity. Actually, let me increase it. Here. Why is it only 480p? Output. Oh, okay. Let me restart this. Okay, this should be working now. Let's see. Popped up at least. And it looks like it's working. Perfect. Let me just post the link everywhere. Streaming right now. Coding. Okay, I'm gonna start the stream in like a minute or two and just like getting everything ready. And also I want to wait for some viewers to come on in. Where should this go? Probably media. Creating the SAO cutscene maker. Self promo. Right over here, Misty doesn't have a self promo chat. Should be a streaming chat on this server. YouTube here. I'm on stream. Everyone can see, so nothing private. Is there anything for here? Okay, I don't think there's, yeah, they'll ban me if I post the link there. Here, it's not, is it SAO related? Whatever, I'm not gonna post it there. I already posted there, here. No, it's not under content creation. Let's put it videos. No one here is gonna watch it, but I don't care, and they're not gonna ban me because I'm their best player. Streaming. I'm coding it in GameMaker 2. Okay, let me post on one man's chat. Let me post. Is there anything here? The idea is let me post the link everywhere so that way I get the most amount of people. Hey, 4 people watching already. How you guys doing? I'm gonna get started in like a minute or two. I just want to post the link around. Whatever, you guys get the idea. You know, I think that's good. Okay. Let me just set up my phone so that way I can view comments and stuff while I am working. And yeah, here we go, live stream. So you guys can comment and I'll be able to see it. And that's about that. So let me know who's here. So who's here, you guys? So I'm gonna be working on this once I start, really, so you guys can see some of the code right there. Is there any issues, by the way? Let me just see it myself. Okay, looks like it's working no problem. What's up, Silica? Yes, we all know that you like to see girls die. You know, I'm gonna get started. So basically, here is what I have done right now. I just got like the absolute most basic part of the framework up and running earlier today. What I was doing is I wanted to recreate the entire text scroll process from scratch, since with the Neptunia cutscene maker program before this, I based it off someone else's code, and I was so new to coding that I didn't know what I was doing, so a lot of it came out like trash, and by this point just adding a simple update is insanely difficult, so I'm building this from the ground up instead. Now because of that, I need to figure out how to do all the text scroll process from the start. Experiencing interruptions, what in the world? Is there something wrong with this? It looks live. Yeah, it should be live. It looks like it's perfect quality. Okay, this should be fine. Let me know if there's any problems, guys. 6 people watching, that's pretty cool. Actually, I probably shouldn't X that out. How do I get back there? Stinking. No, not that. Here. Will it show it here? No. Stinking YouTube. All I want you to do is show me my live stream. That's all I want you to do, YouTube. Piece of junk. Here. There we go. Okay. So back to this, I'm basically making the framework from scratch. Now, I have in mind some of the features I want to incorporate in the future. I want to add in a timeline system, so because of that, what I need to do is I need to code ahead of time a way of keeping track of time, so that way you could figure out where you want to put each thing. And in order to do that, what I did is that I created a thing to keep track of the time. So there's a local one and a global one. So this one starts as soon as the game loads, and then this one starts only when the actual text is scrolling. You want YouTube to work. Yes, I want YouTube to work. I can just type anything over here. As you can see over here, it's keeping track of whatever's typed, and I can backspace whatever it is, and it deletes it. The basic idea behind that is very simple. Just keep track of the number of letters, so that way I can know how many letters that need to be output, whatever stuff with the code. After that, though, press enter once, and this is still test, so what it's doing is that every 60 frames or 2 seconds, I believe right now, what it's doing is it's outputting one of those. So before, what I was doing during the initial stuff is that I had it set that it was, how should I say this? What was doing is I had a test variable, so I developed the actual input and output processes separately. So let me show you guys how that worked right over here. So it worked was pretty simple. In the event, so one thing I figured out, by the way, is that I want to have a central object that controls everything. That instead of creating like 80 objects that interlink with each other in weird ways like I was having issues with prior, I asked my coding teacher and he said that this is a good way. If I have one object that simply managing everything else, and it was a good idea, so I decided to incorporate that. I still didn't add all the comments yet since some of the stuff is still testing. So right over here I have a region here that's just to switch the game mode. Now once everything is said and done, I'm gonna remove this part of the code, and the game mode is gonna switch either automatically or depending on other things. You asked, do I like to see girls die by any chance? No, I don't. Anyways, so by default game mode is set to 1, and then if I press enter it's set to 2. Small glitch for some reason. I have it set that it's supposed to go no higher than 2 but no less than 0, but for some reason it's going to like -3 and -1, which is weird. I'm gonna have to figure that out later. Really doesn't matter for right now though. Anyways, right over here, game mode equals 1. What it does is that it sets up the dialogue input. I'm doing a comment system that I know exactly what every little detail does, so that way I don't run into the problems I was running into with the previous process. Anyways, go to the dialogue input script. Same shtick over here. First, it checks a keyboard input, and what it's doing here is it's checking, hey, is the player pressing anything? Then what it does is this variable already exists. I think I created it in global, maybe. No, I didn't create it in global. I created it in here. Yeah, right over here. So I set it equal to an empty string. The idea is that it adds to it just so that way if at any point I need to call that ahead of time, it's just not set yet. That way it doesn't crash the program. So what it does is it sets it equal to itself plus whatever was just typed, and then it resets the keyboard string. I don't fully understand this whole keyboard string nonsense thing, but what is this UI? Silk, I know you're used to like previous versions of GameMaker. I like this UI personally. But yeah, I like how it looks like IDA, but you're writing code, not reversing it. I like this style. So I know that you're used to like GameMaker. What was it like? I don't even know what you were used to, but yeah, this is GameMaker 2. I personally like the layout. I think you could change it. You should be able to change it. This is like different. I don't know how you could change it, but I like this layout a lot. Anyways though, I don't really fully understand the whole idea of resetting the keyboard string, but I learned the hard way from this took me like a week to solve when I was making the Cutscene Maker version 4.0, I believe, at the time, and this was during the summer. I was trying to figure out some of the basic stuff with how to get the dialogue to work, and the biggest problem was that for some reason there was a lot of glitches that were stemming from the keyboard string. Someone came in, showed me how to do it. I don't understand it at all, but whatever, I know that this is how I need to do it. After that, what I do is I have another thing, dialogue length. Is there? Yeah, so dialogue length right over here is set to 0. So this needs to be an integer rather than a string. By the way, if anyone watching doesn't understand what I'm saying, Silk, I know you understand. You probably know 10 times better than anything that I know. But a lot of my viewers probably don't understand a lot of this code. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know. Silk said, keyboard string is a variable that keeps track of every key you type since you've played the game. Ah, interesting. Now, the one thing I don't understand, though, is why I have to reset it here, but for some reason I have to reset it twice, which is weird. So maybe I could recreate it here. I could show you. It should be under text scroll, maybe. Where did I have that? Did I delete the code for that? If I delete the code for that, I'm probably going to run into issues later on. Okay, I don't know where, but at one point I set it again because I was having issues, and I don't even understand why it has issues. And with the Cutscene Maker, I was having the same issues. I would show you guys, but it really doesn't matter. Let you try to change to 1080p. Please work. I'm testing it on here. It should work at 1080p, no problem. Right over here, as you can see, it's set 1080p and streaming on my end, no problem. So if I could stream it and then also watch it at the same time, you should have no problems. In that case, it should be your internet, actually. But my point being here is that I have a dialogue length. The idea here is that once you get to the text scroll, it has to know exactly how many keys are being pressed at any not how many keys. It needs to know how many letters are in the actual string, so it could output each one of them one at a time. So what I have is I have it set that once you add any or subtract any, that it updates that. After that, I'm definitely using the return function wrong, mostly because I've never really returned stuff from scripts before. I've tried using the comma, that didn't work, so just like as a guess, I tried using comma, and I tried using and after that, and that seems to have worked. I'm probably doing something wrong with that. I don't know what I'm doing. Most of the time, at least with the cutscene maker version 4.0 for the Neptunia thing, what I was doing is I was just using scripts to like reuse the same code over and over again. But I really don't know what I'm doing. Let's go back to here though. So what it does is the game starts and it's set to a global game mode equals 1. And what that means is that it is running this script. So it is checking if you press a key. If you press a key, it adds it to the string dialog. What, that worked? Yes, it did work. Why? How am I supposed to do it? I know for a fact I'm doing it wrong. I know 100% for a fact I'm doing it wrong. Anyways, though, what was I saying? So it sets the dialogue, then checks this, whatever, goes back. Then after that, it returns to me dialogue and dialogue length. Now, what does that mean? So dialogue simply tells me, okay, this is what is stored and what it needs to be written out. So if I go over here, that would be this string over here of random things. So if I were to, 1 second. Your chat broke. Yeah, YouTube is messed up, so if it breaks, just refresh the page. What's it called again? If I were to write, why is this not work? Oh yeah, because I push shift test. If I write test, then what it's doing right now is that right now the dialogue, the actual variable dialogue right over here is set to the word test. The chat breaking, that stinks. Yeah, it does stink. So right now, since the word test is written over here, that means that this variable right over here, dialogue, is set equal to whatever that is. So it's set equal to the word test. And that means also that dialogue length is equal to 4 right now. Now, that's actually important because later on, once I get over here, so once I press enter, it sets game mode equal to 2. It basically sets in stone, okay, this is the dialogue and this is the dialogue length, and it's not going to change it. Wouldn't return something and something returns a boolean of the two values. Wouldn't return, but you're not even comparing them. What? Oh, and is for comparisons? I didn't know that. I mean, my logic was, I literally just guessed it. Like, I was on the train just coding, and I didn't have full access to the manual because underground. And I'm like, okay, the comma's not working. So like, here's the thing. So when I'm setting up the thing, so script execute, text scroll, and then you set all the things, and it's divided by commas. And I'm like, okay, it's probably just a comma. Thing is, I looked in the manual, open manual. This is what I had access to on the train. So open manual, and when I did the comma, it was giving me this dumb error right over here. 1 second, right over here. So got a comma, expected the end. I'm like, what in the world is that? So I go over here, I go to search, I'm like, return, just to get the information on return. And it pulls up all this nonsense. I have no idea what any of this is. How does any of this relate back to the return function? I don't even know what's going on over here. So I'm like, okay, maybe I could do script, and it gives me a bunch of other useless garbage that I didn't need. Script exists, script editor. If I go to script editor, it brings me to all this, which is like, I'm not reading all this. So normally I just go on the game maker Discord. I'd be like, where is it? Where's the game maker Discord? Here. Normally I'd go here, I'd be like, hey, blah, 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 I'm having this issue, how do I use the return function? They answer me in 2 minutes, but no, I was on the train, so I couldn't. So instead I'm like, okay, let me just try, and that just so happened to work. I did some tests, and it worked no problem. If hello equals 1 and hello equals 2, this is how and is normally supposed to work. Oh, I get that. Yeah, that makes sense actually, but what's weird about that is that it's working over here. So the question is, did some moron at Yo-Yo Games just mess it up and put it as a and instead of comma? I don't even know, but whatever, it works, and that's all that matters. and it works with that issue. I ran some tests. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but at least as I can see right now, there's no issues. It returns it no problem. But I think there might be a chance that for some reason by default it returns it without me having to even do return. Let me test that actually. Let me test that because I ain't test that. So if I comment it out, that should crash the program. Normally you wouldn't return 2 values. You're not able to return 2 values? I was not aware of that. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, so I get it now. So I was doing something wrong. If I can't return 2 values, that makes sense. We just figured it out. Apparently, I was right. It's automatically returning it for some reason. So, I don't know why that's happening. I guess this line right here is redundant, meaning it was basically doing nothing. Crashing programs when the destruction v1.0D. Don't know what you mean by that. What I wanted it to do is I wanted it to crash the program, because if it doesn't return dialogue and length, that means that it doesn't have it for later on when it needs it, and if it doesn't have it, it can't use it. But the fact that not only is it using it, but it's working no problem. If there's no return, then it is a void function which doesn't return anything. I mean, maybe I would have to manually write void in that case. I don't know. It's very weird. Let me ask them. I'm curious. Is all the chats busy? Okay, this guy said he fixed it, so it's not busy. I am working with scripts. Do scripts return variables automatically? Just don't put a return. I mean, I wish I could communicate, hey, I did the return, blah, blah, blah. It's working for some reason, but I'm not going to write out 2 paragraphs, especially on live stream. Just want a simple answer. Because I think what it's doing is it's returning it automatically. That's what makes sense to me, at least. Let me tab this on the side. Anyways, back to the code while we wait for that. Let me make this bigger. So what happens is script execute. So what it's doing is that it's setting dialog speed equal to 60. Later on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an input that lets you change this, but for now I'm just doing a default value for testing purposes. Actually forgot a semicolon there. Then script execute, and it executes it with these variables being sent to it. I'm probably doing that wrong too, but it's working, so I'm not complaining. Then what is that? Text scroll. So text scrolls right over here, then a bunch of comments on top. So what it does is it starts out by starting the global time frame. What it does is that it's setting a local. Look at all that code. This is not a lot of code actually, compared to the cutscene maker 4.0 for Neptunia especially, and that was a lot of code. So let me do this. So right over here, you can see all these zeros over here. What that means is that it's not trying to run the actual scrolling across the screen. If it's anything like GameMaker 8.1, then the variables being created by the script remain in the scope of the object. Yeah, I remember something about that. So because it's remaining in the scope, I kind of understand scope, but I don't fully understand. You get that, like figuring all this out as I go along. Oh, technically, if you want to return something else, you'll need to tell it what to return. Return value. Could it be? Oh, could it be that use? Okay, let's say I wanna return multiple values. What's weird is that it seems to be returning everything anyways, and I don't know if I'm just whatever. If a function is something you can do, a equals script name args, so arguments, and then a is equal to the returned value. don't get that at all. If a function returns something, you can do. I kind of get scripts. I don't fully understand it. I need to read up more on it. Returning multiple values means to wrap the return in an array. Oh, okay. I think I get it. So that's why the parentheses. Nothing should be happening automatically. I'm streaming right now, and one of my viewers mentioned that it's because it's within the same scope. Does that sound about right? What you may be doing is manipulating instance variables in the script, which should generally be avoided unless the script is built specifically for one object type. I have no idea what any of that means. Yeah, if you're using var variable in your script, I'm not using var, but I'm using a variable. Then you're defining new variables in the instance. I am very confused. All I know is that it's working. I'm not gonna complain much if it's working. Yeah, Silka, you are probably like, well, how do you not understand any of this? Because you like get all of this, but I'm like, I'm new to all of this. I don't know any of this. Pisty is best histy. Yes, she is. I'm probably gonna make more like emotion versions of Isty with future fake cutscene videos. Not 100% sure on that, but I'm probably going to. I'm just gonna write an okay thanks. I don't understand any of that, but I want to get drawn out into a whole conversation. Anyways, as I was saying, so this whole area is local, just a local timer for like once you get the text to start scrolling. Then what it's doing is that it's checking, okay, it's been scrolling for this long, and if I go back and it's not supposed to be now it's not scrolling anymore, it stopped the scrolling function, so it stops that timer. I have to figure out how to reset it. I'll probably do that after. So there's a global and a local one, and it starts out by just starting the local one. Now what it's doing is it's saying, okay, if the local one is at frame rate 30, then it just adds 1 second because it's at 30 FPS for some reason. I set it to 60, but for some reason it's not going to 60, which is weird. I really don't care though, it doesn't matter. If global runtime second equals 60, then it adds 1 minute. Same idea here, so instead of seconds it's minutes. Might add hours. Probably do not need hours, but you guys get the idea. Anyways though, if dialogue speed, so here's where it gets a little bit more on the mathy side. So what I wanted to do is I wanted it to be, so at first, and this is with the cutscene maker at least, so I don't understand the math behind it because it's like weird. But like I think it's with the cutscene makers who uses var. No, var is actually something you could use in at least in Game Maker 2. So it tells it to make a temporary variable. So yeah, I think temporary variable. I've never used one. I know that that's what it's supposed to do, but I've never had to use one, so I don't really fully get it. I don't fully get a lot of things. All I know is that some stuff work and some stuff doesn't work, and I don't need to understand why it does that, just as long as it does it. Okay, check if the dialogue speed divided by, okay, as I was saying before, what I'm not fully understanding with the previous cutscene maker program is how exactly it determines the text speed and why it is that certain speeds are certain things. So that's how you make scripts not mess with the variables. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that's exactly, it's an instance variable. That's exactly what it is. Perfect. Okay, what was I saying? You keep interrupting me. Okay, so for some, what I think it is that if I have the text speed, so you go, let me open up the actual cutscene maker program, just that way I can show you guys. This is the latest version. This version is not public, by the way, but if anyone wants to use it, just message me, and I will send you a private release. And I should always allow whatever. So right over here, the text speed by default is set to 0.35. I believe if I have it set to 1, so let's say I set it to 1, what that means is that it does 1 line of dialogue every single second, I believe, or maybe it's, I don't fully get it, because all I know is that with this 0.35 is the sweet spot. And that's why I have it set default 0.35, but it's that number, it's weird. I don't get why it's 0.35, and I want to get why it's 0.35. So why set it to a number that I don't understand what it needs to be? And that's why I changed it for this. So at first I'm like, okay, let me get the basic framework from the same thing before, and then change it instead of from whatever arbitrary thing it was before, that it adds it based off of the actual runtime frame. So what it's doing here is that first it's checking, okay, here's the dialogue speed. The dialogue speed in this case right now is set to 60. So because it's running 30 FPS, let's just say it was 30, okay? So that means it's supposed to output 1 every second. Hey, what's up, Uzume? Is it using room speed? I have no idea. You know how useless I am with this. So let's say that the speed was 30. In fact, let me just change it to 30, because why not? So dialogue speed equals 30. So right over here. So what that means is, and I'm telling you guys from now, okay, that means it's 1 every second. Now, here's how that's going to work. So you set it to 30, and that means that every 30 frames of the game, that's going to add 1 to the thing. So what I have it do is that if the dialogue speed, which is right now 30, divided by the global runtime frame total, is 1, then it runs the next part of the code. Now, what's the runtime frame total? So there's the runtime frame and the runtime frame total. So the runtime frame is just to determine, okay, it's been running for this long, and then it converts it to seconds and minutes and whatever. But then the total is just in terms of the FPS, what it is. So it just tracks, because it's, what I'm doing is I'm resetting the actual frame every time. So it's basically the frame, but it's not getting reset every time. Now you can't even hear the stream. So maybe refresh it. Let me check. Everyone else seems to be able to hear it. What the? Can you guys not hear me? Can you guys not hear me? Something's up. Yeah, something happened. Wait, no, it should be outputting. Mic test. Wait, so you guys, so some people, then why can't I? Oh, okay. So my headphones were off. I just got a wireless headset. That's what happened. So I got a wireless headset. I guess it turned off by default. I'm still figuring this thing out. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Uzume, for making things harder for me. Wow, I'm at 9 viewers. That's pretty awesome. Anyways, though, so what it's doing right here is that it's checking the total amount of frames that have passed as long as the text scroll is working. And the reason behind that is that, because I don't want it to be reset. I want one that's keep on getting reset, and then one that doesn't get reset. So this is the one that doesn't get reset. The reason is because the dialogue speed divided by the frame total, I want to be equal to 1. What that means is, let's say the frame total is equal to 30, right? Then 30 divided by 30, because the speed is equal to 30, and that does equal 1, right? Now, let's say it's 60, right? So 30 divided by, wait a second, then how is this working actually? How in the world is this working? Dialogue speed is 30. I know for a fact this is working, but how is this working? Okay, dialogue speed is 30, right? Then global runtime total, so let's say it's at 60. If it's at 60, then 30 divided by 60 is equal to 2. What? What in the... How is that working? Okay, so let's see this. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now let's see. How in the world is that working? I don't understand this. Like, what? What? Okay, let's go do this again. Okay. The frame, it's doing, yes, it is doing it based on the frame to, oh yeah, okay, wait. Oh yeah, okay, now I get it. Okay, I don't even understand my own code sometimes. Okay, so what it's doing is, this is a lot smarter actually. So, yeah, this is how I thought through it. Okay, so it's that the thing is that the user could type in any speed amount. So let's say, I'm not even joking, let's say they type in, where is it? Let's say they type in 72. They want every 72 frames, right? If I set a global reset like this, so let's say I do it just like this, that I have it set, okay, if it's at frame whatever, then it resets it, then that will cause problems because I'm setting it that at this exact time interval, then it does it. Instead, what I did is that I had it that instead of resetting it, what it does is that it's resetting after it runs the code once. What that does is that, okay, it's running through, so it's set to 30, right, or set to 72, whatever it is. So dialog speed is 72, so it runs through it once, twice, 3 times, whatever, gets up to 72. So finally, if it's up to 72, so it goes past this if statement. Now it sets it back to 0, it continues going through the code, but now since it's at 0, it has to get back up to 72. That's how I figured that out. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, actually. I'm like, how in the world did this work? I didn't understand my own code. RK's perfect coding lesson, guys. Just kidding, but the commentary is spicy. Yeah, I'm trying to keep things entertaining because sometimes coding get a little bit boring. So first I'm going through my code, and then I'm going to be adding new stuff to it. I'm going to be explaining what I do, everything like that. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. And yeah. Anyways, so after it goes through this, then it could run the actual code. So if place count is less than dialog length, so the place count, what it's doing is that it's adding 1 every single time it has to run through the code, so that way it could just figure out what it's doing. Then what it does is it runs through it, does a string copy. A string copy basically says, okay, I want you to only select the dialog from this portion of the string till here, and then it sets it equal to a variable called scroll. I had it as a return. I don't need that return anymore, whatever. So it's automatically sending back scroll. Then once it sends back scroll, we go back over here. So game mode is still set equal to 2, but what's happening here is that now we're done with the step event. We go to the draw event. So game mode equal to 2, and scroll is equal to whatever the dialogue that needs to be output is. So it draws onto the screen the dialogue, and that's the preview, and then it also draws scroll. So that's why this works the way it does, because dialogue is what you're typing out that you want it to scroll, and then what it's doing is right over here. So that's dialogue right over there. And then if I press enter, this right over here, what's coming out on screen is scroll, as you can see. So for most of you guys, this would probably be a bit complicated, but in terms of codes, is actually relatively basic. For Silica, this is a walk in the park probably. And yeah, so I am going to continue on in that case. Now, what was the next thing that I wanted to do? What I should probably do is I should probably add some comments so that way I know what everything does. Okay, so here, let me write that better. Okay, checks to see if the global dot runtime underscore frame underscore total is equal to the dialog speed. If yes, it runs through the code and sets it back equal to 0. Okay, this is if the place count is less than or equal to the dialogue length, then it sets the variable scroll equal to however long it needs to be. According to Silica, in GameMaker language, string copy takes the size. In script sharp, what is that? It reads the whole string until it hits 0x00, which causes a lot of buffer overflow. So GameMaker language's string copy is more like memory copy. Interesting. But actually, string copy function in C is useless because GML, you can just do string equals strings 2. I'm just really confused by that. I'm just gonna do it the way that I know how it works. So, yeah. If I know it works, I don't want to mess with it because I just want to get this working. Okay, let's just get rid of the returns because I guess they're useless. Okay, so my code isn't wrong. Yeah, I know my code isn't wrong. If my code was wrong, it wouldn't work. It's probably just not the most efficient. It's definitely more efficient than the last method. So what am I doing now is the question. So what do I want to code next? So what I probably want to code next is a way to store what you type in. Now what that would mean is I would need to add on to the dialogue input, yeah. So first, if keyboard check pressed, backspace, blah blah blah. Okay. Okay, let's go from here. You're saying a true C. Okay, I think I got what you're saying. Is that here's the thing? Like when I'm trying to live stream, think, entertain, and do 20 different things at once. So like when you're saying, okay, this is how it's like done in C. Like normally maybe I'd be able to understand, but I have to think. Okay, you know something? I need to always be talking so that way you guys are entertained. I always need to be thinking of what I'm doing with the code so that way I don't lose track and so that way I know what I'm doing. Then on top of that, I always need to keep the viewer comments in mind so that way I know what you guys are saying, can respond to it. So streaming is a bit difficult with coding because you have to keep so much in mind all at once. So yeah, that's just what it is. What am I doing next? So what I want to do is I want to do a similar thing to what I did in the previous cutscene maker, which is to do a DS list system. So for that, what I did is I used a for loop in order. So in a way, I wouldn't call it an exploit, but I exploited like the traditional sense of the word exploit, not the computer sense of the word exploit, but I exploited how the actual step function works in order to use a for loop in order to save everything all at once for the DS list. Or maybe that's just how. No, that is how I did. So how did I do it for this? So what I did is first I need to create a DS list. Now how do I do that? You know what? Why don't I just rip off my own code? It's my code after all. Here. If it's my code, I could rip it off and no one will complain. That's perfectly good code. This code actually worked without problem. Okay, that should be under, where is it under? Come on, boot up a hard drive. Here we go. Nope, this is an older version. I don't think I have it under here. Maybe under C documents, game makers. Yep, I have version 4.1.1. It's a bit outdated, but it has the code I need. Your internet died just a second ago. Good thing. No, my machine is not gonna break on you. Trust me on that. I made sure it won't. My machine by this point is OP. So how did I do it here? So line 1s, 2, and 3. then the typing preview. So if instance blah blah blah. As you can see, here's what I mean by this code is a mess. I barely understand all this because it all interlocks with other things and junk like that. Okay, so lines 1, 2, and 3. So I don't need the typing preview here. The DS list. So first, so first I need to create the DS list. So I had a global thing that created the DS list. Was it here? Where was it? So that's, guess it's not there. So where did I make the DS list in that case? Same with while. You just put something. Wait, oh, you wrote something before that. For loops stop the game from processing until they finish. You really haven't found many uses for them, to be honest. So the way I have it done actually is pretty useful. It's that, let me find that actually. It's I have it done in a very interesting way. It was actually really smart of me to do it like this. Here we go. Here it is. So the basic idea with this, and wait, I already have it open. Here, so right over here, what's happening is that on screen, when I type something over here, it goes on screen, then it goes on top, whatever, just write a bunch of things. It's that I want it to output all those at the same time, and I want it to be able to do that efficiently. So I thought the best way would be, okay, let me exploit how this is running in a actual, it's that I wanted to number it and do a bunch of things with it. So what I'm doing is that because it's a DS list, what I could do is I could loop grabbing the DS list and then also loop outputting it. So by doing it like that, it actually worked pretty interestingly. So what it does is it checks, okay, is the DS list less than 20? And because I have it done by region, so like 1 to 20, then 21 to 40, so on and so forth, just because that's how much would fit on each area. So as long as it's less than 20, then it runs a for loop, and it checks, okay, this is the size of it, and what it's doing is that it's setting j equals to I plus 1. I don't fully understand my own code. It's fine as long as your loops don't take forever to finish. Yeah, it doesn't take too long to finish. Just wanted to explain it. What was I doing though? So if ds list size global line 1, wait, oh, global.selected is created in input script. I don't need global.selected. I need, wait, oh, perfect, right over here. This is why commenting is useful. Global.lineXDS created in global. Okay, where's global? Oh, global, that's where it is. Here we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to grab one of them, and I will fix it all later. Okay. Global. So I'm going to change the name to global.dialog1. You actually don't comment my your code is pretty bad. So I ran into a huge problem with the cutscene maker that because I didn't comment it, I didn't understand what any of it did. You're a lot better than me, so you could probably get away with that, but I can't get away with that by this point. So it creates the list, and then it needs to add to it or something. Why is there a step event here? Oh yeah, because the frame junk. Okay. So it creates it. Then what's happening here is if keyboard check pressed, blah blah blah. Okay. Hey, welcome, MD. I've never seen you here before on my stream, so welcome to my stream. If you have any questions, then just let me know. So I'm actually pretty going in depth with the code. Like I'm actually coding it live. So because of that, you can see how I'm actually making this. Oh, it's Mystery Dash. Okay, I didn't realize that. Oh yeah, MD Mystery. That makes sense actually. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah. So you're gonna see how my code is not exactly very good. You guys are probably much better at this. So what I'm doing right now is I explained all this before. I'm not going through all this again because I have like 7 other people watching. So I need to create. So I made the DS list, right? Now I have to add to it. So how do I add to it? Over here, what did I do? So let me just copy this whole thing because why not? I'm just gonna copy this whole thing, do it the lazy way. Okay. And I'll delete whatever I don't need. Okay, so I don't need the line 2 and line 3 junk. I don't need to set the line number. I don't need to destroy or create instances. Okay, so if keyboard check pressed VK enter and global.selected is equal to 1. So there's no global.selected right over here, so I could delete that. If DS list size global dot, I change it to dialog 1 is less than 90. I'm not going. I don't need to worry about the DS list size yet. So if you press enter, it adds to the thing, and it adds not line 1, it adds dialog. Then line 1 equals no, so instead let's change that to dialog equals string delete dialog string length. No, instead of doing a string length, let me just do dialog length. Not good. FFS. What does FFS even mean? The only thing I'm noticing is that you're getting better. Every day. Thank you. Anyways, I'm just passing by to say hi. You got work to do. Looking forward to the next cutscene. So yeah. Well, thanks for dropping by. I am getting better every day, but I feel like I'm not getting better fast enough. Mostly because you guys are younger than me, and you guys are like 100 times better than me. So. Oh, okay, so that's what that stands for. So what am I doing? Dialog equals string delete, that should work no problem. So if I do that, what that effectively does is that when I press, okay, so let me actually change one thing. So where was that? That was in, oh yeah, it was in dialog. No, it wasn't in dialog input. Where was it? It has to be a step event. Where did I have it set that it does that? Global maybe? Wait, oh yeah, I had the thing minimized. My bad. Okay, let me change it from enter to, I'll just do right and left, I guess. Okay, there we go. Now what that should do is that if I press enter, it should save it to the DS list. So I just want to see if it, I'm not going to see if it adds it, I just want to see if it deletes it. And of course it didn't. Okay. It is in object event one. Oh, because I forgot to change one of the. Yep, I see. Okay. That should fix it. If there's no equals, it just assumes to check for 1 is equal to. I forgot to set equals. Where did I forget to set equals? By the way, you need to do condition if condition equals 1. Where did I forget to do an equals? If condition equals 1. Wait. Oh, I don't need to. Okay. I know it's just like good practice because like GameMaker usually I know that it handles it without a problem, but as far as I'm aware, at least with most other coding languages, you do need to do 2 of those. So perfect. Okay. Now DS list, as far as I'm aware, you add to it, it just sets it. Okay, I understand that now. Perfect. Okay. Now that it has it set to the DS list, instead of outputting from that, I want to even C handles that. Whatever. Okay, so instead of outputting that, I want to output the DS list now. what I'm going to do is this should be in here. Draw text. No, it's not. It is global dot dialog 1. I think that should work. I'm probably messing something up, but it's worth a shot. Yeah, I messed something up. Totally messed something up. Okay. I think I know what I messed up though here. DS list create. So what is the problem in this case? So right now it's being set to 0, so in that case it probably just doesn't have a value or something. DS list add. How about this? Let me try this, because why not? Worth a shot. Wait, oh, dialog's not set by this point actually, so let me just do it as test. That would have crashed it. Okay, and then I'll comment this out. Just want to see if it will output the word test. It's still set to 0 for some reason. That's interesting. So then the question is, why is it set to 0? Checking for dialog 1. Now dialog 1 is set equal to a DS list. Let me just check my other code, because why not? Oh wait, did I have to convert it maybe? I think maybe I had to convert it first. Draw text line 3. DS list add. Oh, can I not just output directly from the DS list? Oh, okay, so right over here. So it's adding it here and then it's deleting it from the variable. And then by the draw event. Okay, wait, let me get this straight, okay? You press enter, it does that. Then if I go to the capture screen object, no. Where is it? Where is it? Disclaimer. Okay, OS, blah, blah, blah. Edit screen. Oh, here. No, it's not the spawner. It is the text scroll here. Okay, print, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here. Text 1, DS list find value. Oh, okay, I get it now. I totally get it. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Okay, so because of that, let's delete this. Now I totally get it. Okay. Where was it? Here. DS list add, and it adds it to the list. And then it deletes it. Then later on, what I need to do is that when I want to output it, so I could do it that just outputs dialog, or instead I can do output dialog equals ds list find value. What in the world is ID and position? Okay, that's the ID and that's position. Okay, so it should be global dot dialog 1, and then let's just do 0, and that should work. And then output dialog, that should probably work without issue. Undefined 0. I don't even know what happened there. Wait. Oh, okay. I switched the wrong one. There we go. That should do it. Okay, so right now what it's doing is it's simply outputting it. Now I don't want it to just output it. So it's basically working, but all it's doing is that it's outputting it. Dialog input, what that means is that okay, if dialog speed blah 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 scroll equals dialog 0 place count, dialog string delete. Okay, so it's adding it to the DS list, and right over here okay, it's scroll. I'm doing something very weird. If x divided by y is equal to 1 is the same as if x is equal to y. I went over this before. I didn't fully understand. I'm assuming you're referring to, one second. Where was that? Text scroll, dialog input. Where was that? Here, I'm assuming you're referring to this. If dialog speed divided by the game runtime. Line 20. Yep, that's it. Okay, the reason I have it set like that is because the player or the user can set the dialog speed to anything. So if I have it set in a certain, it's that I wanted to reset the variable after it checks for it. So what it's doing is it's checking, okay, the dialog speed right now is equal to 60, right? So if it hits 60, then if it's the game, because what it's doing is it's just adding 1 to this over and over again for every frame of the game. So once the frame total hits 60, then what's going to happen is that, or because this is 60, so 60 divided by 60 is equal to 1, then it resets it. So it's only running it if it's set at 60 every 60 times. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but it's working properly. I have it set up that way on purpose. The question though is, so if dialog speed divided by the global runtime speed is equal to 1. Okay, so what I need to do is I need, instead of scroll, no, so I need to make the scroll equal to that somehow. So how am I doing that? If place count divided, no, if place, Okay, let me step back a second. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to make it that it outputs the DS list. And how do I do that? I need to do a string copy on that. In order to do that, so first it's checking the dialog speed. That has nothing to do with that. Then the place count. So how does it get the place count? Place count by default is set to 0. Perfect. Dialog length. How does it get the dialog length? Dialog length is not set over here. Dialog length is set over here in the input. Oh god, this is gonna be a lot of work. Okay. Let me comment this out for now, I guess. And what I will do is that, let me put it here for now. Dialog length equals dialog length equals string length. That's what it is. String length of output dialog. It's basic math. The only time yeah. Okay, now how am I doing this? So dialog length is equal to the string length. So if it's that, let me move this. Okay, so the output equals blah blah blah. String copy. Oh, okay, I think I get it now. Now what's dialog? Dialog equals string. Okay, no, so it's not dialog, it's output dialog blah 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 place count. Got it. Now, what is dialog actually? So dialog string delete. Okay, so let's have the dialog be for that. I think I get it. That should work, I think. And it's not deleting it for some reason. Okay. Let's see why. So it could be that it is saving it, it's just not outputting it. Okay, draw text dialog. Dialog equals that. I should be deleting it. That's weird. Let's try that again. That is very weird in that case. That is incredibly weird. So for some reason it's only deleting if I switch and then press enter. Keyboard check pressed, VK enter, TS list add, dialog 1, dialog. So why is that happening in that case? Okay. There's the left and right. So first it goes to dialogue input. Dialogue input checks for any key, blah blah blah. Then I press enter. Now for some reason I press enter and it doesn't delete the dialogue for some reason, even though it very clearly should. Very weird. So it should, but it's not. Dialogue, could that be it? Something with dialogue length? Yeah, because I think I touched the dialogue length. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I figured it out. Okay. Output dialogue length. Then string delete dialogue. Yeah, I figured it out. Okay. Dialogue length equals, what is it equal to? String length of dialogue. Okay, so dialogue length, string length, dialogue equals string delete, blah blah blah. I believe this should work. There's probably some issue. Okay, deleted without issue. Hey, it looks like it works without issue. That's great. Now let's do a test with that. TS list find value. Let's do the find value of 1. Now what that means is, so far you got the Neptunia cutscene maker and I didn't make a Ruby cutscene maker. I'm making an SAO cutscene maker. Can't I just do dialogue equals nothing, so reset it? Probably. I have no idea though. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, so if what would this crash it? I wonder. Yeah, it did. Okay, not surprised. I have a Neptunia cutscene maker, and this is an SAO cutscene maker. Now, I'm basically remaking the cutscene maker project as a whole, and I'm going to rework. So I'm turning this into SAO, and then I'm going to rework it back to Neptunia. I mean, the Neptunia cutscene maker is versatile enough that if you know what you're doing, you could basically get it to work with anything. But whatever. So what that means is, now let me run a test instead. If I set 2 things, now if I do, it should work without too much of a problem. Perfect. Exactly what I was expecting. Bingo. Okay. I'm mentally drained, so frankly, I think I'm gonna end it there. At least in terms of the stream, I'm gonna continue working on it for a little while. It's hard to like think and talk at the same time and stuff. Very, very difficult. It's a lot more hard than you'd think because I'm trying to entertain and juggle 20 things at once. But I got some of the more basic stuff still up and running. I'm doing a lot of things at once. I think I'm gonna end the stream there, though. For anyone that's here that's watching because of my SAO light novel versus anime stuff, I'm gonna bring that back in a week or two. I just got burnt out from making those. Anything else? I have a couple videos I've had on the back burner for a while that I'm gonna continue working on in the background. Hopefully, should be up in a day or two, whatever it is. Yeah, that's about it though for the stream. I hope you guys liked it. Make sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. I do these every now and then, by the way. So by the way, have you seen Ruby? I've seen Ruby. I don't like Ruby. I just don't like it for some reason. You could load sprites and stuff externally. Oh wait, it's not gaming. Don't know what you mean by that. I could just load up a sprite by just creating a sprite. I don't really watch Ruby just because I don't really like Ruby. I will be doing another one of these streams. I wouldn't say every day, maybe every few days or so. Just whenever I work on these, I try to stream them if possible. That's about it though. If anyone has any questions, I'll answer any questions, and then I'll end the stream. So yeah, just waiting for questions. I'll wait like a minute or two. I am assuming no questions in that case. How am I today? Tired. Very, very tired. That's just usual though. It's totally normal for me. Just always tired because I'm always working. Anything else? Well, I guess not. Okay. Think I'm gonna end the stream now, so yeah. Otherwise, just someone shoot out a "hey, wait 1 second" type thing. Otherwise, I'm ending. I'll take that as no. Okay, see you guys later.